Hello everyone. This next fly I'm going to tie is the Kate, an old English classic salmon fly. The hook is the Gaelic Supreme blind eye hook, size 4/0. The thread to secure the gut eye is the Simplify Nano Silk 24/0 white. Start the thread at the tip of the hook and trim the tag. Wrap a base along the tapered portion of the hook and bring it back to the start. Next, take a section of the Silkworm Gut and bend the loop around the tapered bodkin. Secure the gut eye from underneath the hook with edge-to-edge wraps along the threaded area. Whip finish and add thin head cement over the wrap. Once dry, trim the ends on a taper with a razor blade. Build up the thread, whip finish, and trim. The thread for this next part is the Uninylon 70 denier white. Start the thread and trim the tag. The tinsel for the tag is the Lagerton fine oval silver tinsel. Take a piece of the oval tinsel and remove a section of the tinsel down to the core. Secure the tinsel by the core and set it so the tinsel portion is even with the barb. Wrap with smooth wraps to that point. Wrap a base for the tinsel and spiral the thread out of the way. Wrap the tinsel edge to edge for 5 turns. Strip the tinsel down to the core again. Unwind the thread and secure by the core with smooth wraps to the point and trim the excess. Next, take a strand of yellow silk floss, secure the strand of the silk floss underneath the hook at the end of the silkworm gut with smooth wraps all the way to the tinsel. Wrap a smooth base to the point, spiral the thread out of the way and burnish the area. Wrap the silk floss along the base, unwind the thread, and secure the floss along the threaded area. Trim the rest and burnish the silk wrap so it's smooth. Next, measure the golden pheasant crest. Trim. You want it slightly longer than the bend and flatten the stem. Secure the crest on top of the hook and wrap the thread forward with smooth wraps to the start. Whip finish and trim. Next, I'm switching over to the Unithread 17/0 Trico. For the veil, I'm using Kingfisher, already prepared, and flatten the stem. Secure on top of the tail by the stem and centered. Next, prepare a black ostrich herl. Eliminate the excess fibers at the bottom of the stem and trim your tying point. Secure the herl by the stem at the base of the tail from underneath. Build up the base for the butt and spiral the thread out of the way. Wrap the herl edge to edge along the base 5 turns. Unwind the thread and secure the rest of the herl along the threaded area. Whip finish and trim. Next, I'm switching over to the Simplify Nano Silk 12-aught white. Start the thread and trim the tag. Prepare the oval tinsel the same way as the tag. Secure it from underneath the hook by the core and line up the tinsel portion even with the herl. Add the medium embossed silver tinsel beside the oval and secure both with smooth wraps to the herl and trim the excess. Next, add the red silk floss from underneath the hook and wrap with smooth wraps to the herl. Build up the thread along the threaded area. Take the flat embossed tinsel and wrap it as a rib, evenly spaced and angled, and mark it where the second rib falls to the right of the tinsel, and unwind. Build up the thread on a taper to the left of the mark and burnish the area for a smooth underbody. Wrap the red silk floss along the threaded area about 1/3 of the way forward, just before the mark. Secure underneath the hook along the threaded area and trim the excess, and burnish the silk body. Next, prepare a red hackle. Flatten the stem and fold the hackle. Secure the hackle by the tip from underneath the hook, even with the mark, with smooth wraps along the threaded area to the end of the gut eye. Trim the excess and build up the thread. Bring the thread back to the base of the wrapped silk floss. Fold the hackle forward to secure it with lead wire to keep it out of the way. And whip finish the thread so it's secure. Next, split the thread, wax both sides, add red seal's fur dubbing loosely, add the dubbing twister, double over the thread, and spin to secure. Brush out the dubbing. Switch over to a hackle plier and wrap the dubbing along the threaded area behind and in front of the hackle, pulling the fibers back with your fingers to the end of the threaded area. Secure by the thread. Trim the excess and brush out the dubbing. Wrap the rib forward, starting with the flat tinsel. The second rib falls behind the hackle and wrap at the same angle and evenly spaced along the dubbing. Secure in front of the dubbing and trim the excess. Followed by the oval tinsel, wrap tight to the flat tinsel. Secure in front of the dubbing and trim the excess. Next, wrap the folded hackle tight to the oval tinsel, pulling the fibers back with your fingers. Wrap the remaining hackle as a collar once you get past the dubbing with edge-to-edge wraps. Secure by the stem and trim the excess. Remove the excess fibers from the hackle on top of the hook using your fingers and hackle pliers down to the stem. Whip finish and trim. Next, switch over to a Simplify Nano Silk 24/aught white. Prepare 2 golden pheasant tippets. Measure. I want the end of the tippets even with the veil tips. Have them back to back, flatten the stems, and secure on top of the hook in front of the collar. Once secure, trim the top portions of the tippets. Trim the stems on a taper using a razor. For the married wing, I'm using from bottom to top Florican Bustard, dyed yellow turkey, dyed red turkey, Cory Bustard, and repeat for 3 layers, and Argus Pheasant for the top. Stack the dyed yellow turkey on top of the Florican Bustard. Have the tip slightly longer than the bustard on a taper. Then add the dyed red turkey on top of the dyed yellow turkey, slightly longer. The first 3 layers have 3 segments, and add the Cory Bustard with a single strand. Repeat this step 2 more times. Each segment is slightly longer than the last for a taper. Then add the Argus Pheasant the same width as the rest. Finally, remove the excess Florican Bustard so it's even with the rest. Place both wings together back to back with the tips even, and bend the wings so there's a space between, and set it so the tippets go in between the wings. Secure on top of the hook with a soft loop and a cinch wrap, and make any necessary adjustments at this point. Then add a few more cinch wraps. Adjust the wings so they sit properly by bending the wings in an arch and touching up any areas with a bodkin. Next, prepare the wood duck and teal for the sides. Secure the married segments on the left side of the wing first with a soft loop. Make any adjustments at this point and add a cinch wrap and whip finish. Repeat the same thing on the right side of the wing. Line up the bars on the wood duck on both sides so they're even. Once secure, make any adjustments to the wing. Trim the excess wing and stem square to the hook to the right of the wrap, and build up the thread and whip finish. Next, prepare the yellow hackle. Flatten the stem and fold the hackle. Secure the hackle by the tip from underneath the hook tight to the wraps, holding the wing. Wrap the hackle forward edge to edge in front of the wing, pulling the fibers back with your fingers. Secure by the stem and trim the excess. Build up the thread and whip finish. Remove any excess yellow hackle fibers sticking up in front of the main wing to the stem. Next, prepare the jungle cock feathers. Measure. I want the end of the tips even with the beginning of the white bar of the wood duck. Remove the waste portion at the stem at that point and repeat with the second feather so they're both even. Flatten the stem and secure on each side of the wing, left and right, and trim the excess stems. Next, prepare 2 segments of bronze mallard. Trim the segments from each side of the stem, left and right, and leave the stems intact. Have both sides even. Take the 2 bronze mallard segments and place them back to back with the tips even and bend them the opposite way at the same time to conform with the main wing. Place both wings on top of the main wing so it straddles it evenly and secure with a soft loop and a cinch wrap. Next, prepare 2 blue chatter or substitute feathers. Flatten the stem and secure on each side of the wing, left and right. Prepare the golden pheasant crest. Use a proper crest that has the same arch as the wing. Trim the excess and remove any unwanted fibers. Flatten the stem for the tying point. Place the crest over the wing in the center and secure by the stem. Next, prepare the blue macaw for the horns. Take a single strand from each side of the stem, left and right, and secure on each side of the wing. Trim the bronze mallard on a taper with a razor to finish the head. Build up the thread, whip finish, and trim. Start the black thread, trim the tag, cover the white head, whip finish, and add thin head cement. Once completely dry, add the 5-minute epoxy evenly around the head. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and hit the like button to see more of them. Thank you.